Well, good day. Happy Monday. Um, Welcome to MoMo Love Presents Many Voices of the Community. Um, this is an extension of my weekly radio show called Community Voices, where like minded people come together to share common goals and interests. It's aired every Wednesday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on a Blazing Radio. You can listen by downloading the free website. Pro app, a Blazing Radio Pro app, or listening live on the website at www.ablazingradio.com. So, since the onset of the novel coronavirus, COVID 19, beginning of May, I had started having these mini quarantine talks, as we were coping with corona. And it was just a way to, kind of ease our minds being blown with the numbers and the testing and the mask and the gloves and I just wanted to try to figure out a way to reach out to people to, see if they were kind of going through some of the same things that I was going through and how we can deal with it. And so now, this is the first day of June. And we have the aftermath of the murder of our dear brother, uncle, friend, George Floyd. And today I'm excited. Go ahead. I see you there. Go ahead and request. I'm very, very excited to speak with a licensed social worker. She is a Georgian resident, Atlanta, Georgia. She was kind of on the front lines, and we're going to talk to her today. Her name, Ashley Simpson-Haley. And one of these days, we're on episode 15. One of these days, I'm going to get me an applause and say, hello, welcome, Ashley
Hi.
Simpson-Haley. Oh, you're outside. I love outside interviews. Well, I was saying that I started this because, coronavirus had us all crazy.
Right.
And we were going through all of that. Like, what do we do? Do we turn left, right? And so this started off as a way we could connect with one another, do a mental, physical check in to say, Ashley, how are you doing?
Well, I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
I am here. The world is a mess right now, but I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for asking. And yeah, like you alluded, we're now having to deal with the death of George Floyd. And I mean, the subsequent protest and looting and all of that, which we'll definitely get into. It almost seems like COVID is a distant memory, right? Like,
Right, right.
what's COVID? Like,
Yeah,
but
it's crazy. The protesting started, and we stopped hearing about COVID.
yeah. But I want to ask you, what are your thoughts still on COVID? Is it as prevalent? Do you?
I mean, I believe that it's better to be safe than sorry. I don't know anybody personally who's been affected by COVID, but I still wear my mask because I'd rather be safe than sorry. And I would encourage our brothers and sisters to do the same thing.
Yes, ma'am. Now, like I said, May was Mental Health Awareness Month, and really and truly every day is Mental Health Awareness Month. Congratulations to you, not once but twice. You got
Thank you.
your degree from the University of
The
Georgia and
University of
as a
Georgia.
Master of Social Work. Yes, congratulations. So,
Thank
what's
you
the
so much.
goal for that? What's the goal?
So right now I am working on becoming licensed. In the state of Georgia, you have to wait until you graduate to become licensed.
Okay.
So I am working to become licensed, and ultimately my goal is to work in a school setting, high school preferably, to help people who look like me. Um, I previously worked as a college advisor at a high school in Athens, Georgia, and I saw the need for more people who look like me to help our students. In a school system where it's 54% black, there was no reason where it should have been 70% white educators. So I saw the need for people like me to be in those schools helping those students.
And let's be real about it. You know, when we have these social workers, guidance counselors, psychologists in these schools dealing with our little black boys and little black girls not understanding their
Right.
energy and their boredom, you know, they want to put them on drugs immediately.
They want to put them on drugs. They want to automatically classify them as sped. They want to automatically put them in remedial classes or behavioral classes, send them off to alternative schools because they don't know how to handle them. They don't understand their behavior and their frustration.
Now, Ashley, you got 2 degrees. What's sped?
Oh, special education. I'm sorry.
You know, we ain't all as smart as you, girl.
I'm sorry. Yes, it's special education. So I noticed that a lot of times when students were acting out, and it could have been like behavioral issues stemming from other socio-emotional problems that they had, they were automatically normally classified as special education and placed in those classes as opposed to remaining in regular classes and getting the help that they needed.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I applaud you because we need more people getting into that. You know, people think that teachers or advocates of children are thankless jobs because let's face it, you're not paid a lot of money. You know, this has to be something that's truly in the heart for you to
Yes,
do. And,
absolutely.
you know, I commend you for wanting to go back to the very, your family in a sense, right?
Right. Correct.
So
Wanting to go back to where, there are people who look like me that I can help.
definitely. So let's just get right into it. All right. So George
Okay.
Floyd was murdered by Derek Chauvin last week after placing his knee in his neck for 8.43 seconds. Him, along with 3 other officers who have not been arrested or charged. Derek Chauvin has been with third-degree murder, and we're happy about that. Okay, there was
Okay.
there, okay. Happy may not be the best word.
Right.
We, we
We are
we'll
thankful
take
that
that
he was
small
charged
bite.
with something.
Yeah, we'll take that small bite.
Right.
Um, and we just heard that the independent autopsy report revealed that it was a homicide caused by asphyxia due to neck and back compression that led to the lack of flow of the brain.
Right.
So let me ask you, when you first saw this video that went around the world, like that could have been your dad, uncle, brother, cousin, your good friend, what were your immediate thoughts?
Um Initially it was I don't know how to describe it. It's sad, but at this point I feel like we're becoming numb to it. Like, I was heartbroken, I was sad, I was angered, I was mad, I was exhausted, but at the end of the day it's like, here's another video of another one of our brothers being killed at the hands of those who swore to protect and serve. So it was a lot of a mix of emotions, but for me, especially as a social worker and a person who believes in social justice, it just lit a fire in me, and I was like, I'm sick. I'm sick, and I'm tired of seeing the same thing over and over again and nothing being done.
Yeah. And you say that, and we all say it. Like, I mean, we were all having those same emotions, which are valid, which are real: mad, anger, sick, tired of being sick and tired. And
Right.
we're still trying to figure out what to do because, you know,
Right.
protesting isn't for everybody. Going down to, you know, the capitals isn't for everybody. Yelling is for
Right.
some people just like to sit behind their computers. But why did you choose to get up and do something?
So initially, well, I've been joining in on protests since as early as my freshman year of college. I can remember when Trayvon Martin was killed by George Zimmerman, and I remember standing outside of the student center. We stood out there with hoodies and, cans of Arizona and a pack of Skittles, protesting his murder. And this incident, I spoke a lot about it on my Instagram, on my story and things of that sort. But I told myself I'm not going to continue to talk about it if I'm not going to be about it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get out there and march, not to start a riot,
Yeah.
not to be violent. That was not the purpose. The purpose was to show up in numbers for a cause that we believed in, which
Yeah.
was to stand up against the injustices that are done toward perpetuated toward our people every day.
Yeah.
So that's why I got out the house and I went down there with the sign.
So walk us through that. How did you find out about it? What did you do to prepare for that day?
So it was pretty simple. My boyfriend and I were sitting there. He saw a post because I had told him, I think people are gonna start protesting soon. He saw a Twitter post with this group of people who had organized the protest for Atlanta. And so they sent out the details, and one of my other classmates also posted it to her story on Instagram. So once I saw that, I I decided, like, I'm going. I really didn't do much to prepare for it. All I knew that I wanted some walking shoes and I was gonna, be out there.
Yeah.
I didn't care if I had a sign. I didn't care if I really didn't care what it was about. I just wanted to be there in that moment so that I could be another person who was in the number.
Yeah. So, I've never joined a protest. I'm a little scary. I'm not going to lie. And it makes me really, really nervous. And sometimes they seem unorganized. Can you help us? Because you have experience in this. Are they organized? Is there a leader, if you will? Are there chants that you do? What's the process?
Yes. So once we got to Centennial Olympic Park, they set it up where people were supposed to arrive around 3 p.m. 3 p.m. people were arriving. That's when we were going to be making signs, standing out there and preparing ourselves to march. The march didn't start until 3:45, so
Okay.
that gave people time to prepare their signs. While they are doing that, the protest organizers were on stage with I guess they're called blowhorns. I
Yes.
don't really know.
Yes.
Blowhorns. And they were, yelling out chants that we were going to say. They announced right then and there, this is a peaceful protest. We will not be burning things. We will not be that is not what we're here for. We are here to march in solidarity for a cause. And so that 45-minute time was the time where we were preparing. So when myself and my boyfriend arrived there, we actually didn't have any signs, and we saw a group of white women that were sitting in the grass, like making their signs. So I walked up to them and I said, "Excuse me, do you guys have any extra signs? I can cash app you for the signs. We just weren't able to stop before we got here." And they was like, "No, we brought extras just because we knew some people wouldn't have it." So they gave me the signs, we made the signs, and we stood there and waited until 3:45 when they said, "Okay, it's time to march."
Okay. Now talk to me about the camaraderie. You mentioned white people being down there, and we saw all the news reports about whites and blacks and Chinese and people of all
Yes.
nationalities down there. You said it started out peacefully. So
Yes.
just kind of walk us through what happened. And that was on Tuesday?
That was on Friday.
Friday. Okay.
On this Friday that just passed. So yeah, when we got down there, like I said, I personally was shocked. I'm not gonna lie. I told my boyfriend, I was like, wow, look how many white people are out here. Look, like there were white people, there were Asians, there were Hispanics. I can remember seeing Mexican flags being waved out there. It was just people of all different backgrounds. It didn't matter the race. It didn't matter the class, the social class. It didn't matter the job or whatever. It didn't matter. They were all just out there with signs, and for a cause. Like I remember seeing, one white lady, she had a sign that said, "If my privilege is your protection, consider it yours. Black Lives Matter." And reading that, I took a picture of that because I was like, that is so powerful that you would stand out here with a sign like that. So it was, yeah. Like when I read it, I was just like, this is what I'm talking about. This is how you use your privilege. And there were people who were, I feel like a lot of times Black people, when we come together for things like this, we don't necessarily prepare for it. So like I said, I wasn't really prepared for it. I just knew I wanted to be there. So I didn't bring the proper tools and, everything that I needed, but it was people out there with signs and markers. It was people out there with water. It was people out there passing out masks so that we could all stay protected. It was people out there with first aid. It was just people out there that were all helping each other.
Yeah.
And I can remember, like, while we were marching, my boyfriend, he's a type 1 diabetic. And so It was at one point that he got overheated and he was like, I'm lightheaded, I got to sit down. We sat down while the march continued, and there were people stopping by like, here's a water, here's a water. People stopping by to help fan him and things of that sort.
Beautiful.
So it was very peaceful and
Beautiful.
really a united front.
So, for those of you that just joining, I'm Momo Love, and we're speaking here with Ashley Simpson-Haley. Ashley, we have, many of us have seen this video that went viral of a police officer who shoved a Black woman with his bike, and this lady had some kind of superhuman strength, it seemed like, and threw the bike out of the way. Ashley Simpson-Haley, that was you.
That was me.
First of all, when did it turn violent? And then I want you to walk us through exactly what happened.
Okay, so yeah, like I said, we got out there, we prepared, we began to march. It was so many people out there, and standing at Centennial Park, I didn't realize the magnitude of how many people were out there, to be honest. But as we started to march and we were on one bridge, we could see the group that before us, the leaders, they were on this side of the bridge, and there was another group on that side of the bridge. So it was so many people out there. So we marched, and they marched to the state capitol. The group of people that I was with, we hadn't even made it to the state capitol by the time that they had turned around and started marching back to Centennial Park. That's how many people were there. So we just turned around and came on and started marching back to Centennial Park. Once we got back to Centennial Park, there was a large police presence there.
Okay.
And that's when we were just like, people were a little on edge because we've seen we saw what happened in Minnesota. You know what I'm saying? So we were on edge, but you know, we just kept marching. Once they got back to Centennial Olympic Park, that's when I don't know if you've seen the video of everybody just standing with their fist up.
Yes.
It's just yes. So that's when that moment happened. That was when we got back to Centennial Park. So as people were dispersing to leave, a government vehicle tried to drive through. And that I don't know where he was going. I don't know what he was doing, but he was trying to drive through as protesters were there. So people started. Sorry, did I get disconnected?
That's okay. Go ahead. People started.
Okay. Yeah. So people started to kind of crowd around his car, like, you can't just drive through us.
You're not moving. Yeah.
Right. We're not moving. So there were people in front of him, and I happened to be behind him. So I was holding a sign that said, your job is to protect and serve, not kill Blacks. So I just stood behind the police car and held up my sign. And as I'm standing there, they began to send in more police officers to surround his car. I'm assuming that what they wanted to do was create a police presence around the car so that that's when a bunch of police started to crowd around the car, and they were on their bicycles. Some were standing with their bicycles, others were just standing there. So as we're standing there, the lady that you saw in the video with the red dress, she's talking to this police officer, Miguel Lugo, that's his name. She was speaking to him, and she was like, so how does it feel being out here? And she's talking to him. As she's talking to him, get a little, violent. So I'm like, I'm gonna back up. I step back a little bit. And he then touches me. He touches my shoulder. Now my back is turned to him. He touches my shoulder and says, move, you need to move. And I said, don't touch me. I'm not touching your property. I'm not touching you. Do not touch me. He does it again. And that's where you see in the video me say, do not touch me. Do not touch me. At that moment, he picked up his bike and shoved it into me. And that's when the lady in the red dress and another young man, he assisted in getting him off of me, because that young man who had just stood there and said, don't touch her, do not touch her. And so that's when he turned around, he saw him shoving the bike into my chest. And so at that moment, police just started to crowd around. It was about 5 police that ended up tackling the Black guy, but the white woman in the red dress just walked away. Now I thank her. I thank her for using her privilege and showing other white people what they're supposed to do in situations such as that. But the fact that she walked away unscathed, and this man was tackled to the ground by more than 3 by more than 4 police officers. That is what was crazy to me.
And she was the one who actually assaulted the police officer.
Right. You see her in the video grabbing the bicycle and throwing him to the ground.
And again, he turned to you. Why?
He was standing there, and it's funny because a friend of the lady in the red dress reached out to me on Twitter and said she said she was standing there because he looked like he was gonna try something. So he literally turned around and touched me, and I'm like, don't touch me. I'm not touching you. I'm doing what you're saying. You see me step back in the video. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching your property. Don't touch me. And that's when he just shoved the bike into my chest.
He actually reached out and touched you first.
Yes.
I don't know
You
if you
can see
remember that.
Yes. He
Yeah.
touched me, and that's when I turned around. I'm like, don't touch me.
Ashley, I'm so sorry you had to go through it. However, I'm so glad we are here talking to you about that. The adrenaline, the anxiety that you must have felt afterwards. I mean, like, you know, if anybody has ever been in a high, you know, energy situation, the tears that come afterward. Tell me your immediate thoughts after.
So as he pushed me, I'm not gonna lie, my first response, and you can see it in my eyes in the video, was to retaliate. But I knew that in that moment, had I retaliated, I would have ended up arrested, detained, or even another hashtag. And I didn't want to be that. And I had saw where the white woman had used her privilege to come to my defense. And so when she did that, I realized that I didn't need to retaliate. But it was at that moment that I took out my camera and started recording them as they slammed the other black gentleman to the ground, and detained him. So it was just a lot of emotions. It was frustration. I was angry. I'm not even gonna say frustrated. I was angry. The protest was peaceful, literally until that moment. That was the first moment where you saw people start to get sprayed with pepper spray. That was the first moment where things got tense, because prior to that, none of that was happening. So it was a mix of a lot of different emotions, but I knew that wasn't why I was there. I wasn't there to be violent. I was there to be there in support. Yeah. So I knew that had I retaliated, it would have went differently.
Yeah. This is going on the 3rd night. Have you been back out? Are you going back out?
At this time, probably not. I would like to join them and, you know, be in solidarity and support of the cause. But at this point, my face is out there. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to be targeted because they know who I am.
Because we know that's
right. We know, we've seen it in the Ferguson protests. Majority of those protest leaders have ended up missing or dead.
Yep.
Mysteriously.
Yep.
And so I don't want to be that person that ends up being targeted because
not only that attacked. You are now in print. There is an article on your story in Law and Crime. Is it Law and Crime?
Yes.
Yeah. So we definitely have to protect you. Right. How's your boyfriend? Is he okay?
He's okay. He's fine. He was actually, you can see him in the video with the Falcons mask there. But he's fine. He actually was the one who grabbed me and pulled me away after I was pushed because he knew that I was angry. So he grabbed me and pulled me away. But he's good. Thank you.
So you're welcome. So Atlanta's curfew is now 7:00.
Yes.
You know, the mayor is very upset at, you know, so many people. What do you think about the looting?
While I will not be looting, I understand. Mm-hmm. That's my stance. People are frustrated. When we were peaceful, it didn't make a difference. When things got violent, it still didn't make a difference. So I understand why they're doing it. I understand. I won't be looting. I can tell you that. I won't be doing it, but I understand the concept behind it. The concept is to hit them where it hurts economically. Yeah. Once you bring down the economic system, that's when changes start to be made. I know there's a blackout day supposed to be coming. I think it's June 7th, where we're not supposed to be spending any money in businesses that aren't black owned. So I understand why they're doing it. I won't be looting, but I'm not going to say that what they're doing is absolutely wrong. I won't be doing it, but I understand why they are.
Yeah, and I think that's most of our sentiments, honestly. You know, this thing is, and I shouldn't even call it a thing. This systemic racism
Yes.
has to stop. And you know, some of us, like I said, march. Some of us pray. Some of us write legislation. Some of us, we do so many things. Ashley, what is the main thing, in your opinion, as far as the Black family goes, that we need to do?
I think that at this moment, whether we agree with what's happening or not, as a Black race, we need to stand together and say we understand. Whether you agree with the looting, whether you agree with the rioting, whether you agree with the violence, we understand. As Black people in America, we wake up and we see this daily. We wake up and see this every time we cut on the TV, every time I open my Instagram app, my Twitter app, we see the injustices against our people every single day.
Yes, ma'am.
So we need to stand as a united front and at least say we understand. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to go out there and do it. I promise you, I will not be looting anything. But I understand. We are frustrated and we understand.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I could talk to you all night because, you know, and I do want to offer to anybody that's out there, there's a little question box at the bottom. If you have a question for Ashley, I'll try to get a couple in, but I just wanted to say, my name is MoMo Love. I host a weekly radio talk show by the name of Community Voices, and this is an extension of how we can just connect with one another and build and grow. I have had such the pleasure, Ashley, of speaking
Yes,
with you, social worker, dual degreed, okay, from the Atlanta, Georgia University, in social work. Uh, Ashley Simpson-Haley, she went viral in the video that is that's going around, where the lady in the red dress push the bicycle. But Ashley is the one who, you know, she was basically helping to protect, and we do appreciate her for that. Um, I want to urge everyone to pray for Ashley, her strength, her perseverance, and anything that she may be affected by after this. Okay. Not only Ashley, our other sisters, and definitely our men. We have to bind together, guys. We got to get in this thing. Ashley, any final
absolutely.
words to the family out there as it relates to the Black family, George Floyd, or anything else that you want to say?
To George Floyd's family, I am sorry. That's all I can say. I'm sorry that you had to go through this. I'm sorry that one of your family members had to be the one to die at the hands of those who swore to protect and to serve us. I'm sorry. To those who are out there protesting and fighting the good fight, continue to do what you're doing. Be safe, be smart, cover your face, be safe.
Be
Don't do
safe.
anything that can make you end up another hashtag.
Yeah.
And to those who are too afraid to go march, for those who are just tired, we understand. I understand. Do what you have to do to make sure that the message moves forward. This is a new day and age. We are not sitting here silently anymore. We are not marching in full suits anymore. We are not allowing police officers or other human beings to assault us just because they wear a badge.
Mm.
So continue to be safe.
Where can people follow you?
So you can follow me here on Instagram at your fave FAV social worker underscore, or on Twitter at your fave SW.
All right. Ashley, that sun literally and figuratively is shining bright on you, my queen. I love you.
Thank
I
you.
salute you. I appreciate you. And thank you
Thank
so
you
much
so
for your
much.
time. All right.
Thank you for this opportunity.
You're so welcome, dear.